Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Fix, and we are back with another epic What If Naruto fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto was never forgiven by Konoha? Part 1. If you love Naruto fanfics, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey with me. So, let's start the fanfic. The night the Nine Tails was unleashed upon Konoha still haunted the village decades later. But in this timeline, things were different, much darker. When the fourth Hokage sealed the Nine Tails inside his newborn son, the villagers didn't see a savior. They didn't see Minato's legacy or Kushina's sacrifice. They saw only a monster. And this time, no Iruka, no third Hokage's words, no friendship could drown out that hatred. A childhood in shadows. From the moment Naruto could walk, he was shunned. Shopkeepers threw him out before he could speak. Children were warned not to play with him. Every whisper followed him like a curse, the demon child, the one who killed our families. Quote, the third Hokage tried to protect him, but even he could not shield Naruto from what lingered in the eyes of the villagers. When he entered the ninja academy, he wasn't just ignored, he was sabotaged. Training equipment would, mysteriously, go missing. His food would be laced with salt. Even some teachers turned a blind eye when students bullied him. But Naruto endured it all, with a grin, a loud voice, and dreams too big to be crushed. I'll be Hokage one day, he would shout. And behind that grin was a pain no one saw, the loneliness that could drown entire worlds. The broken hero. When Naruto finally became a genin, he thought things would change. He had a team now, Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi. He had people who fought beside him. He even saved the village more times than anyone could count. From defeating Zabuza and Haku, to stopping Gaara's rampage, to saving everyone from Pain's destruction. But when the dust settled, the truth never changed. The villagers still looked at him with fear. When he walked down the streets, they whispered, that demon saved us again. Or maybe it was just the Nine Tails using him. Even after Pain's invasion, when Naruto stood in the ruins of Konoha, bloodied and exhausted, expecting gratitude, he saw only cold stares. That night, he stood atop the Hokage monument and whispered, no matter what I do, it's never enough. Quote, Kurama's voice rumbled from within. You can't change what they see, Naruto. You can only change what you choose to be. Naruto clenched his fists. Then maybe I'll stop trying to be their hero. The day of betrayal. Years passed. The fourth great ninja war ended. Naruto stood beside Sasuke, victorious. He had saved not just Konoha, but the entire world. But peace has a price. When he returned home, the villagers gathered at the gates, not with cheers, but with suspicion. Rumors spread like wildfire. He absorbed too much of the Nine Tails' power, he might lose control. The elders met in secret. Danzo's ideology, though dead, had rooted deep within the village's heart. One night, they acted. A team of Anbu, masked and silent, ambushed Naruto's home. They claimed it was for the safety of the village. Kurama roared in rage as blades and jutsu rained down. Naruto didn't fight back at first, he didn't want to hurt his own people. But when they attacked with lethal force, something inside him snapped. With a single breath, a crimson wave of chakra exploded, obliterating the surrounding forest and shattering the Hokage monument. By dawn, Naruto stood amidst the ruins of his home, his headband torn, his village burning behind him. The faces of the people he swore to protect were twisted in fear, screaming. Greater than, the demons finally revealed itself. Quote, he dropped to his knees. All I ever wanted, was to be one of you. Kurama's voice echoed softly, almost like pity. Then stop trying to be part of something that never wanted you. And in that moment, Naruto stopped being the Leaf's protector. The exile. At sunrise, he walked to the village gate. Kakashi, now the Hokage, stood there, face unreadable behind his mask. Naruto, he said quietly, I don't want this. But the council has voted. You are to leave Konoha, permanently. Naruto didn't respond. His eyes, once filled with hope, were now hollow, cold, and ancient. He removed his headband, the symbol he once cherished more than life itself, and dropped it at Kakashi's feet. I gave everything for this village, he said. Now I'll give it nothing. Kurama's chakra shimmered faintly around him as he turned away, his orange cloak torn and his heart shattered. Sakura tried to run after him, but Kakashi held her back. Let him go, he whispered. He's not the same Naruto anymore. As Naruto vanished into the mist, the wind carried his last words. Greater than, from today, Konoha has no hero, only the ghost it created. The birth of the forgotten. Years later, whispers spread across the world. A figure cloaked in black, known only as the Forgotten Hokage, had been seen helping war-torn villages, saving orphan children, and hunting corrupt leaders. He never revealed his face. He bore no symbol, but his chakra, fierce, golden, and tinged with red, struck fear into those who once called him demon. He built no village, he ruled no land, but his influence spread quietly, creating a world outside the shinobi nations. A world that didn't know hatred or hierarchy. The weak called him savior. The powerful called him threat. Konoha called him a curse they could never undo. And somewhere, deep within the ruins of his heart, Naruto whispered to the wind. Greater than, maybe I was never meant to be their Hokage. Maybe I was meant to become the hope they didn't deserve. The forest outside Konoha stretched endlessly, silent and ancient. The moon hung above like an unblinking eye, watching as the boy who had once been the village's brightest light walked into darkness. Each step Naruto took echoed like thunder through the woods. The headband that once rested proudly on his forehead now lay behind him, buried in the dirt where his dreams used to live. The same dirt where his parents had fallen, the same ground he'd sworn to protect. The boy who had carried the wall of fire now carried only ashes. The wanderer. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Naruto roamed through ruined lands, ghost villages destroyed by the wars that had never truly ended. Everywhere he went, he found remnants of the same pain that had lived inside him his whole life, people abandoned, blamed, and broken. Children too young to understand hatred but already consumed by it. He began to see himself in them. A boy with no family. A girl with eyes too tired to cry. A man who had once been a hero, now hunted by his own comrades. Naruto helped them quietly, building small shelters, healing wounds, driving away bandits. He used no flashy jutsu, no talk of heroism. He was no longer a name, no longer a face. To them, he was just a stranger who arrived when they needed help, and left before they could thank him. Kurama would occasionally speak, his deep voice softer now. You're still saving 'em, huh? Naruto would smile faintly. I can't stop. It's who I am. The fox sighed. And yet, they're the same people who would have hated you if you were born in their village. I know, Naruto said. But maybe if I save enough of them, the hate will fade before I do. The village without a name. It began as a handful of survivors gathered around his campfire. Then a few more. Then dozens. They were wanderers, missing nin, civilians, orphans, deserters from every nation. Each of them cast out by their homelands for one reason or another. Naruto built for them what no one had ever built for him, a place to belong. At the heart of a deep valley surrounded by cliffs and waterfalls, he founded a hidden refuge, one that couldn't be found on any map. He didn't call it a village. He didn't want power or structure. But the people needed a name, and so they called it Yugako, the hidden village of redemption. No headbands, no titles. Only one rule, no hatred survives here. They built their homes from the ruins of old battlefields. The earth that had been soaked in blood was now carved into gardens and rice terraces. Children laughed again. Smoke rose from cooking fires, not from war. And at the center of it all, standing beneath a giant oak tree, was Naruto, wearing a plain black cloak, his blonde hair grown longer, his face weathered but kind. He no longer called himself Uzumaki. He no longer wanted to be recognized. But the people whispered his name anyway, with reverence. Greater than, the Hokage of the Forgotten. The shadow of Konoha. While Yugako thrived, far away in Konoha the winds of politics turned bitter. The elders saw Naruto's growing influence as a threat. His name, once a symbol of hope, had become taboo. Children were taught that the Nine Tails Jinchuriki had betrayed the leaf, that his power could return one day to destroy them all. But not everyone believed the lies. Sakura, now an elite medic nin, had spent years searching for Naruto, following traces, the villages he'd saved, the bandits who spoke of a golden-eyed savior. Sasuke, living in exile himself, had heard the same whispers. When he finally tracked one of the refugees, he asked, "Who leads your people?" The man smiled. "A wanderer with eyes like the sunrise. He doesn't lead us, he heals us." Sasuke's heart clenched. "So you never gave up, Dobe." A broken reunion. Years later, Sakura and Sasuke found Yugakure hidden behind a veil of mist. They expected walls or guards, instead, they found a sprawling valley filled with life. When Naruto saw them approach, he didn't smile. His eyes, calm but distant, watched them as though from another world. Sakura ran forward, tears in her eyes. "Naruto, we finally found you." He didn't move. "You shouldn't have come." Sasuke folded his arms. "Still pretending you don't care, huh?" Naruto looked up at the setting sun. "I don't pretend anymore." Sakura stepped closer, trembling. "Everyone back home, they regret what happened. The new generation." He cut her off sharply. "Regret, or fear that I might come back?" Silence. Sasuke sighed. "You've built something here, something they never could. You think they won't notice? They already have," Naruto said softly. "That's why you're here." Sakura shook her head. "No, we came to bring you home." Naruto turned toward them, and for the first time, they saw the truth in his eyes. Not hatred, not pain, but emptiness. "There is no home," he said. "Only this place. These people. They're all that's left worth protecting." Kurama's chakra flared faintly within him, his voice echoing. "You've changed, kid. You've finally learned what peace really costs." The Leaf's mistake. Konoha couldn't ignore the rise of Yugakure forever. Its trade routes grew, its influence spread quietly across the continent. Orphans from every nation flocked to the valley, and among them, spies sent by Konoha's council. They reported that the so-called, forgotten Hokage, wielded power greater than ever before. His chakra was calm and divine, a perfect balance between human and beast. Fearing he might form a new army, the council ordered a secret mission: eliminate him before he became a threat. Answer: under cover of night, Konoha's Anbu moved through the forest toward the hidden valley. But this time, Naruto was ready. As they entered, their chakra vanished, swallowed by the dense energy of the valley. The air thickened with crimson light as shadows materialized around them. Naruto stood alone at the edge of the forest, cloak billowing, eyes glowing faintly gold and red. "I didn't want this," he said quietly. "But you've forced my hand." The Anbu drew their blades. By order of Konoha. They never finished the sentence. In a single motion, the earth beneath them cracked open, swallowing their weapons in streams of glowing chakra. Kurama's energy rippled across the valley, bending the sky itself. Naruto's voice trembled with restrained fury. "I will not be your monster again." When the dust cleared, the Anbu were gone, not dead, but lying unconscious, untouched by any wound. He had spared them. Again. But this time, it wasn't mercy. It was finality. He looked to the stars and whispered, "We're even now." The whisper of the world. Years passed again. Yugakure became a myth whispered among nations. They said it was a village where the broken found healing, where the lost found family, and where a ghost guarded peace in silence. Naruto grew older. His hair turned slightly silver, his voice quieter. But his power, and his heart, only deepened. He taught no doctrine. He held no counsel. But his presence alone was enough to unite those who had nothing. Children called him Sensei. Adults called him Guardian. And the world called him the Hokage without a village. Kurama often teased, "You ended up ruling the world anyway, kid, just not the one that hated you." Naruto would smile. "Good. Let them have their world. This one's mine." The return of the leaf. One day, as twilight bathed the valley in gold, Naruto stood by the waterfall. From the mist emerged a group of shinobi wearing old, cracked leaf headbands, not soldiers, but wanderers, tired and broken. Their leader knelt before him. "We were told stories," he said, "about a man who forgives where the world doesn't. We came to start over. Naruto studied their faces, and saw the same fear, the same hope that once lived in his. He closed his eyes and whispered. Then leave your symbols. Leave your hatred. You are no longer of Konoha. You are of Yugakure. Answer, even the ones who had once exiled him found refuge in the home he had built for others. Konoha had cast him out, but in doing so, it had given birth to something greater. A place born not from fire, but from forgiveness. The last light. Years later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Naruto stood upon the same hill where it had all begun. The valley shimmered with life, children laughing, rivers glowing, the faint sound of peace echoing like a song. Kurama's voice came softly. You've done it, Naruto. You made the world you always dreamed of. Quote, Naruto smiled faintly. I didn't do it for them, Kurama. I did it for the boy who once believed he could be loved. The fox chuckled warmly. And that boy finally found it. Naruto's eyes glowed one last time, golden and calm. Yeah, he did. As the stars began to shine, a wind swept through Yugakure, gentle and endless. And with it came the whisper of the forgotten Hokage. Greater than, forgiveness doesn't come from others, it comes from choosing not to hate. Quote, the years slipped through Naruto's hands like sand, yet the world outside Yugakure continued to burn. Wars had not vanished, they had only changed form. The new cage of the great nations sought alliances, treaties, and prosperity, but greed always found a way to crawl back into men's hearts. And through it all, there was one constant rumor, of a man who appeared when destruction neared, a shadow wrapped in golden light, whose eyes carried both life and death. They said he moved between the borders of nations unseen, ending wars before they began, healing those crushed by greed. To those he saved, he was Naruto of the wind. To those who ruled in fear, he was the ghost of the leaf, a reminder of the sin they could never erase. The messenger from fire. It was a stormy evening when a young kunoichi stumbled into Yugakure's valley, wounded and desperate. Her cloak was torn, her chakra almost depleted. Two guards helped her to the central hall, where Naruto sat quietly beneath the great oak tree that marked the heart of the village. He had been meditating, his face calm and older now, no longer the boyish grin, but a serene stillness. His blue eyes, though aged, glimmered with the same boundless empathy. The girl fell to her knees before him. My name is Hana. I bring a message from Konoha. The crowd around her stirred in unease. Some muttered curses, others clenched fists. Konoha was not welcome here. Naruto raised a hand, and silence fell. Speak. Hana trembled. Konoha is dying. The crops fail, the trade routes are collapsing, and something is wrong beneath the village. The earth trembles. We think it's chakra decay. A poison spreading underground. Naruto's gaze didn't change, but the air around him darkened. Why come to me? She hesitated. Because no one else can stop it. They said you'd never forgive us, but you were the only one who ever saved us. Kurama's voice rumbled softly from within. Well, that's rich. They curse your name for decades, and now they come crawling. Quote, Naruto said nothing. He stood, his cloak whispering in the wind. The people of Yugakure watched him, waiting, afraid he might leave them for the village that had once exiled him. Finally, he spoke. Konoha chose its path, and I chose mine. But if the land itself cries for help, then it's no longer about them, it's about balance. He turned to his people. While I'm gone, protect each other. The world doesn't need heroes, it needs hope. And that's what you are. Then he vanished in a flicker of golden chakra, the wind of his departure shaking the leaves from the great oak. The crumbling leaf. When Naruto arrived at Konoha's gates, it was nothing like the home he once knew. The mighty walls were cracked. The air stank of decay and dampness. The wall of fire, that once burned so brightly, was now little more than embers buried in ash. Children played in silence, soldiers patrolled with hollow eyes, and the faces of the Hokage on the monument were worn down by time and neglect. At the village center, Naruto found the cause of the sickness, a vast fissure that split the ground beneath the Hokage tower. Chakra leaked from it like toxic smoke, devouring life wherever it touched. As he knelt beside it, the ground trembled. He could feel the energy pulsing, chaotic, corrupted, and old. Kurama stirred within him. This isn't natural. It's like the land's memories are bleeding out. Quote, Naruto frowned. Or maybe the hatred never really died, it just sank into the soil. From behind him came a weak voice. I always knew you'd come back. Naruto turned, and there stood Kakashi, much older now, leaning on a cane, his once strong chakra dim. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto murmured. Kakashi smiled faintly beneath his mask. Still calling me that? After all these years? Naruto's jaw tightened. Why didn't you stop them? You let them drive me out. Quote, I tried, Kakashi said softly. But the will of the many outweighs the voice of one. Even Hokage can't erase hatred, Naruto. Naruto's eyes dimmed. No, but maybe they can learn from it. The curse beneath the roots. The poison wasn't just in the land, it was in the foundation. Following the chakra trail, Naruto descended deep below the village into the forgotten root facilities, Danzo's old network of tunnels. What he found there froze his blood. Sealed chambers pulsed with decaying chakra, hundreds of corpses, remnants of root experiments, all leaking fragments of suppressed tailed beast energy. Each had been sealed long ago to weaponize chakra against Konoha's enemies. But over time, the seals decayed, bleeding into the earth. It wasn't just physical corruption, it was emotional. Every ounce of resentment, fear, and vengeance that had been poured into these walls for decades had infected the land itself. Naruto placed his palm on one of the seals. His chakra flared golden red. Kurama growled. This is what they built their peace on. Lies and bodies. Naruto whispered, then I'll end it. He closed his eyes, drawing the corruption into himself, purifying it through sheer will. The air crackled with light, and the tunnels shook violently. But it was too much, the hatred was ancient and endless. It fought back, whispering in voices from the past. Monster, murderer, you were never one of us. Naruto's eyes snapped open, glowing like molten gold. He screamed, not in pain, but in defiance. Greater than, you're right. I was never one of you. But I still protected you. The ground exploded in light as his chakra surged outward, cleansing every trace of corruption. The mountain shook, trees burned away, and the fissure closed with a thunderous roar. When it was done, Naruto stood trembling, his cloak in tatters, blood running from his nose. Kurama's voice came softly. You did it, kid. Naruto fell to his knees. No, we did it. Forgiveness denied. When he emerged, the villagers had gathered around the now healed square. The fissure was gone. Flowers had begun to bloom again in the cracks of the stone. But instead of gratitude, Naruto was met with silence. Whispers started to spread, he caused it. He brought the poison with him. He's dangerous, he shouldn't have come back. Naruto looked around, his chest heavy. Not a single thank you. Not even from those whose lives he'd just saved. Kakashi watched helplessly as the crowd turned their backs once more on the boy who had saved them countless times. Naruto took one last look at the Hokage monument. The faces of his father and the heroes before him watched in silence, stone witnesses to humanity's unending blindness. He whispered, I forgive you, even if you never will. And with that, he disappeared once more, leaving behind only a whisper of wind and the faint scent of rain. Return to Yugakure. When Naruto returned to the valley, his people gathered around him. He didn't speak of what he saw, only that the balance was restored. But something in his aura had changed. It was no longer golden or fiery. It was pure white, still, silent, eternal. Kurama sighed. You finally let it go, haven't you? Naruto smiled faintly. Yeah, forgiveness doesn't come from others. It comes from knowing you don't need it. Quote, he walked to the great oak tree, sat beneath its roots, and looked at the horizon. The wind carried children's laughter through the valley. Life thrived. Peace endured. For the first time in his life, Naruto felt free, not from duty, not from pain, but from the weight of needing to be loved. He had become what he was always meant to be, not the hero of one village, but the guardian of all hearts that had been broken by one. And somewhere deep within the world's quiet rhythm, his name lived on, not as legend or god, but as truth itself. Greater than, Naruto Uzumaki, the man who was never forgiven, but who forgave the world anyway. The night was calm in Yugakure. The silver moon reflected softly off the river that flowed through the heart of the hidden valley. The wind brushed gently through the trees, whispering peace, but within Naruto's heart, there was only silence. He sat beneath the great oak, the same place he had first declared Yugakure's foundation. Around him, candles flickered, hundreds of them, placed by the villagers who revered him not as a god, but as their protector, their peacekeeper, their leader. And yet, Naruto didn't smile. His eyes, now faintly glowing white gold, reflected the stars, as if he was part of the night itself. Kurama's low voice echoed within him. "You're restless again." Naruto closed his eyes. "The earth's quiet, but my heart isn't. You're thinking of them again, aren't you?" He didn't answer. The silence was enough. The shadow of the past. That night, he dreamt again, of Konoha. He saw Iruka's smile, the warmth of ramen at Ichiraku, the laughter of friends he once called family. Then he saw the hate, the cold eyes, the betrayal, the shouts echoing. "Monster! Leave our village!" Naruto woke before dawn, drenched in sweat, his hand gripping the earth as if it would anchor him to the present. His chakra had surged unconsciously, the ground around him cracked, grass withering from the pressure. He took a deep breath, forcing calm. "That village doesn't exist anymore," he whispered. "It died the day they let their fear rule them." Kurama's voice softened. "And yet, you still dream of it." Naruto's eyes softened too. "Because part of me still loves it, even if it never loved me back." The storm over nations. Weeks passed. Yugakure flourished under Naruto's quiet leadership. Trade flowed from the land of rivers, the poor found safety, and the world began whispering his name again, not as a monster, but as a mystery. Yet far beyond the valley, the balance was shifting again. Without realizing it, the nations had begun drawing power from the very energy Naruto once purified. Greedy daimyos commissioned forbidden research, ways to control chakra flows directly from the earth. And deep below Konoha's ruins, something stirred. A remnant, a soul of pure vengeance, born from the hatred Naruto once absorbed. It had no form, no voice, only purpose, to destroy all that forgave what it could not. Visitors from the ashes. One morning, a group arrived at Yugakure's gates. They wore cloaks marked with the faded insignia of the hidden leaf. The guards hesitated but allowed them through. At their head was a familiar face, older, scarred, but unmistakable. Sakura Haruno. Her once bright eyes now carried exhaustion. Behind her stood Konohamaru, Shikamaru, and two others, the last of the generation Naruto once fought beside. When Naruto emerged from the hall, silence fell over the valley. He looked at them, not with hatred, not even with warmth. Just stillness. "You found me," he said quietly. Sakura stepped forward, her hands trembling. "Naruto, please. We wouldn't have come if it wasn't dire." Quote. Naruto didn't reply. Shikamaru spoke next, his voice rough. "There's a force spreading through the elemental nations. Villages collapsing, people vanishing overnight. It's not a plague, it's chakra itself being eaten." Quote. Kurama stirred within him. "I felt that too. Something's devouring life from the roots." Naruto's eyes narrowed. "Where did it start?" Sakura swallowed. "Konoha." The word hit like thunder. The great oak's leaves rustled violently though there was no wind. Naruto turned away, his cloak flowing behind him. "Then it's time to finish what they started." The return of the outcast. The journey back to Fire Country was long. Forests had turned to wastelands, rivers had dried into cracks. The chakra corruption was spreading like rot. When Naruto and his small group reached what was once Konoha, only dust and crumbled ruins remained. The faces on the Hokage monument were gone, erased as if time itself had rejected them. Sakura's voice trembled. "I used to believe this village was indestructible." Naruto knelt, touching the cracked earth. "Nothing built on hate ever lasts forever." Kurama growled. "Be careful, Naruto. I can sense something alive below." Then, the ground exploded. The birth of the vengeful chakra. From the depths of the ruins rose a monstrous shape, black and crimson, swirling with screaming faces. Its form was liquid, shifting constantly, an echo of all the chakra and emotions that had ever been spilled in Konoha's name. It spoke in thousands of voices. You left us, you abandoned us, your peace killed us. Quote, Naruto's body flared with golden light as he stood between the entity and his former comrades. You're not the village, you're its sin. The entity roared, the air splitting with raw force. Kurama's power surged through Naruto, merging perfectly, red and gold intertwining. Naruto's voice deepened, layered with the echo of a god. Greater than, I may not be your savior, but I'll be your end. The last battle for forgiveness. The battlefield became chaos incarnate. Every time Naruto struck, the creature split into fragments, each representing memories of betrayal. Faces of villages he once protected formed from the smoke, whispering curses. Sakura and Shikamaru fought beside him, but they could barely move in the oppressive chakra storm. Naruto closed his eyes, realizing brute force wouldn't work. This isn't something I can destroy, he said quietly. I have to forgive it. He spread his arms, lowering his guard. Golden light surrounded him, warm and vast. He spoke, not with anger, but compassion. Greater than, you were born from their hate, their fear, their failure to understand me. But I understand you, because I was you. The shadow hesitated. Its many faces flickered, villages, shinobi, even the old Hokage, fading in and out. Greater than, you can rest now, Naruto whispered. Your story ends with me. He let his chakra flow outward, enveloping the darkness like a tide of sunlight. The screams softened. The energy turned white, then scattered into a billion motes of light that rose into the sky. The storm ended. Silence reigned. When the light faded, Naruto was still standing, but his cloak was gone, his hair drifting in the breeze. The mark of the sage glowed faintly on his back. Sakura looked at him in awe. You didn't destroy it. Naruto smiled softly. No, I forgave it. A world without chains. In the days that followed, the nations began to heal. The poison vanished, rivers returned, and the balance of chakra steadied. But the leaf remained gone, its name now a whisper of history. Naruto never rebuilt it. Instead, he scattered its ashes into the river and whispered, Greater than, may you find peace where you never could in life. Quote, Yugakur became a new kind of symbol, not of strength, but of understanding. People from every land came seeking guidance. And though Naruto never called himself Hokage again, to the world, he became something greater. The forgotten Hokage, the one who ruled no village but protected them all. The final piece. Years later, as twilight descended over the valley, Naruto sat beneath the great oak once more. The children of Yugakur played nearby, their laughter echoing through the air. Kurama's voice was quiet, almost nostalgic. You did it, kid. You gave them the peace you were never given. Naruto smiled faintly. Maybe that's what I was meant for all along. To give what I never had. Quote, he looked up at the sky, the stars glowing softly, the wind warm and calm. Greater than, if anyone ever remembers me, he whispered, I hope they remember not what I fought for, but what I forgave. And as the night deepened, Naruto's chakra began to fade gently, merging with the wind, the trees, the rivers. He became part of the world itself, eternal, peaceful, unbound. Kurama's final whisper carried through the valley. Rest well, Naruto Uzumaki, the Hokage the world never deserved. The dawn beyond forgiveness. The morning sun rose over Yugakur, spilling golden light across the lush valley that had once been nothing but barren land. Under Naruto's quiet hand, the hidden village had grown into something beyond what any shinobi could have imagined, a symbol of unity born not from bloodlines or clans, but from shared pain. Children trained in the courtyards below his hall, laughing, sparring, learning both ninjutsu and compassion. There were no academy ranks here, no genin or chunin. Naruto had erased that system long ago. Titles divide, he had said. Heart unites. The great oak, his village's heart, towered above them all, glowing faintly with the chakra he had infused into it during the final battle at Konoha's ruins. Its roots spread beneath the valley, purifying the land, breathing life into soil that had once been dead. Naruto walked along the balcony overlooking it all, his Hokage cloak long replaced by a simple white robe with a single spiral sigil drawn by hand over his chest. He carried no headband now. The symbol of Konoha had long since lost meaning to him. Kurama's deep, gravelly voice stirred lazily within him. "You've gone soft, old man." Naruto smiled faintly, eyes following a group of children racing across the field. "Soft, or finally at peace?" "You, at peace? You've rebuilt half the world and still sleep like you're waiting for another war." Naruto chuckled quietly. Maybe peace isn't about sleeping easy. Maybe it's about making sure others can. Quote, The echoes of forgiveness. Despite his calm, Naruto's nights were still haunted by memories, not of hate anymore, but of faces long gone. Iruka, Jiraiya, Hinata, they visited him sometimes in dreams, not as ghosts, but as gentle voices that reminded him he wasn't walking alone. In those dreams, Hinata always smiled the same way, quiet, kind, with that same look she had the day they last saw each other. He'd never rebuilt her grave. He didn't need to. She lived in every seed he planted, in every child he saved. One night, while walking the outskirts of Yugakure, Naruto felt something strange, a ripple, faint but familiar, in the chakra network beneath the earth. It pulsed once, then vanished. Kurama's voice hardened. "That's no ordinary disturbance. Something's waking up." Naruto frowned. "From where?" "East. Beyond the river. It's tied to the same energy that came from Konoha's corruption, but it's refined. Controlled." Quote, Naruto's eyes narrowed. Someone's using the remains of that darkness. Or, someone survived it. The return of the Forsaken. Days later, a scout from Yugakure burst into the council chamber, bloodied, terrified. "Lord Naruto," he gasped. "An army's marching from the east. They call themselves the Purifiers. Their leader says he's come for you." Naruto rose slowly. The hall fell silent. "The Purifiers," he repeated, calm but cold. The scout nodded shakily. "They bear the leaf symbol, but twisted. A black flame burns through it." Kurama's growl shook his chest. "Looks like your forgiveness didn't reach everyone." Naruto sighed, walking toward the great oak. "No, but maybe it's time it did." The war that shouldn't have been. When the army arrived, they did not attack immediately. They camped outside the valley, banners of black and crimson fluttering in the stormy wind. At their front stood a masked figure, tall, armored, wielding a blade made of compressed chakra. Naruto stepped forward alone. The valley was silent as he walked, barefoot, into the open plain. The air shimmered with energy, his presence itself bending it. The masked man spoke, his voice dripping with resentment. "You call yourself Hokage, but you abandoned the village. You let it die. We, the survivors, carry the flame you let burn out." Naruto's expression remained still. "If you carried its flame, you'd carry its kindness too. But I see only hate." The man lifted his mask, revealing scarred features, eyes burned by grief. "I am Daigo Sarutobi," he said. "The last heir to the Wall of Fire." Quote, Kurama snarled within him. "He reeks of that corrupted chakra." Naruto's voice lowered. "You've mistaken will for vengeance." Daigo raised his sword. "Then let the world judge who's right, you, the betrayer of Konoha, or I, its avenger." Quote, the battle began like thunder. The clash of ideals. Daigo's sword blazed with crimson light, each strike distorting the air. Naruto moved like water, flowing, shifting, redirecting each blow with open palms. His chakra danced golden around him, forming waves of pure energy that absorbed every impact. Daigo shouted, "You pretend to be a god, but you're nothing more than the monster that destroyed Konoha." Naruto's eyes flashed with light. "No, Daigo, I was the boy who tried to save it." They clashed again, power meeting power. Daigo's strikes began drawing on something deeper, the remains of Konoha's hateful chakra, feeding him strength. The ground cracked, trees shattered, the sky turned violet with raw energy. But Naruto didn't retaliate with rage. Instead, he reached out, his hand glowing softly. "I don't want to fight you," he said. "You're hurting because you believed in a dream that failed you. But hatred won't rebuild it." Daigo screamed, his sword descending, but Naruto didn't move. The blade stopped an inch from his heart. Daigo's hand trembled. His body shook violently as the corrupted chakra inside him began to rebel. Naruto placed his hand on the man's shoulder, chakra flowing gently into him. The crimson aura began to fade. The man collapsed, gasping. Naruto whispered, "You've carried that burden long enough. Let it go." Daigo's eyes widened as tears slipped down his face. "How can you forgive what we did to you?" Naruto smiled softly. "Because someone once forgave me when I didn't deserve it either." Quote, The seeds of tomorrow. When Daigo awoke days later, Naruto was gone from the infirmary. The villagers told him the truth, that the man he'd fought had healed his army, cleansed the corrupted chakra, and left before dawn. Naruto had walked to the edge of the valley, looking east, toward the sea where the horizon never ended. Kurama rumbled, "You're leaving again." "Not forever," Naruto said. "But the world's still learning how to forgive itself. And maybe, I need to help it remember." Kurama chuckled. "You never rest, do you?" Naruto grinned faintly. "Rest is for legends. I'm still writing mine." Years later, time passed. Yugakure became a sanctuary unlike any other. The 5 great nations eventually faded, replaced by smaller alliances. The world no longer needed weapons or jinchuriki. Naruto's name became a story parents told their children, the tale of the man who forgave the unforgivable. And deep in the valley, beneath the great oak, an old man sat quietly, hair silver, eyes still bright as the stars. Children ran to him, asking for stories. He smiled and began as he always did. Greater than, once upon a time, there was a boy who dreamed of being Hokage. But what he became, was something far greater. The children laughed, some crying when he reached the sad parts, others cheering when he spoke of hope. And when the sun set, Naruto rose, looking toward the sky. The wind carried voices, Iruka's laughter, Hinata's whisper, Jiraiya's proud chuckle. He smiled. Greater than, I finally did it, Sensei, I made peace mean something. Kurama's faint voice answered, softer than ever. You did, Naruto, you did. Final scene. As night descended, the great oak began to glow faintly, leaves shimmering gold. Naruto stood beneath it, eyes half closed. The light surrounded him, merging with his chakra. The wind stilled. His cloak rippled once, and with a final smile, Naruto whispered, greater than, thank you, for letting me forgive. His body dissolved into countless motes of golden light, rising into the branches, merging with the great oak, his spirit forever watching over the world he once saved. From that day forward, the people of Yugakure said that when the wind passed through the leaves at night, you could hear his voice, calm, kind, eternal. Greater than, never hate what hurt you, forgive it, and you'll be free. Quote, the great oak stood taller than ever, its golden glow visible for miles across the valley. Centuries had passed since the world had last seen Naruto Uzumaki, the man who had once been called the Forgotten Hokage. Quote, and yet, though time had erased empires and names, his village still stood, Yugakure, the hidden village of peace. The stories said that when the wind blew gently through the leaves of the great oak, you could still hear his voice, whispering lessons of forgiveness, courage, and love. Most called it a myth. But not everyone believed it was just a story. A new child of the wind. At dawn, deep within the training grounds of Yugakure, a young boy stood alone. Barefoot, messy-haired, and wearing a torn brown robe, he stared at the massive statue carved into the roots of the great oak, Naruto's likeness, smiling eternally toward the horizon. The boy's name was Ren. Orphaned since birth, he'd grown up hearing only one story, that he was born on the night the wind of gold swept through the valley, the night when the great oak had glowed brighter than the sun. Ren knelt before the statue, closing his eyes. You were real, weren't you? He whispered. Naruto Uzumaki. The one who forgave everyone. The one who never gave up. A warm gust brushed past his cheek, soft and gentle, almost like a hand. Ren smiled faintly. Hey, if you really are still watching, then maybe you could help me too. 'Cause I don't think I'm anything like you. From afar, an old woman watched, her silver hair tied neatly, eyes glowing faintly gold. She had lived longer than anyone else, though few knew why. Her name was Mira, the last surviving descendant of Naruto's first students, and the keeper of the village's greatest secret. The hidden legacy. That night, Mira stood before the great oak alone. The winds shifted, the air itself seemed to hum, resonating with faint golden energy. She whispered, "It's happening again, isn't it?" From the depths of the roots, faint chakra signatures stirred, ancient, familiar, but fragmented. It was the echo of Naruto's chakra, the part of him that had merged with the land itself. Kurama's old essence still lingered too, not alive, not dead, just part of the natural world. His energy pulsed gently, and Mira closed her eyes as she heard a faint growl. He left the world in balance, but peace doesn't last forever. She exhaled slowly. Then it's time to prepare them. Her gaze turned toward Ren's small hut, where the boy slept soundly under the moonlight. A faint mark glowed on his chest, a spiral, almost identical to the seal that had once bound the 9 tails. She whispered, "Naruto, did you really plan for this?" The return of shadows. Far beyond the valley, deep in the ruins of what was once the land of fire, the earth cracked open after centuries of stillness. A black mist seeped from below, heavy and sharp like poison. From it rose figures cloaked in ashen silence, remnants of chakra that had once belonged to shinobi, now twisted into willis phantoms. And at their center stood a figure, his body draped in tattered robes, eyes empty but burning faintly red. He murmured to the wind, his voice hoarse and broken. "Forgiveness, peace, lies." He raised his hand, and the phantoms bowed. "The world that forgot hatred has forgotten strength. We'll remind them." He turned toward the horizon. "We will remind them of pain." His name was Arashi, once a scholar of chakra theory, now a ghost born from the shadow of the chakra Naruto had purified ages ago. And his first target, the Golden Tree Village. The awakening of the bloodline. Days later, Ren woke to chaos. The sky had turned gray, the great oak's light flickering like a dying flame. Mira rushed through the village square, shouting orders. "Everyone to the shelters. Protect the roots." Ren froze as tremors shook the valley. What's happening? A massive surge of chakra erupted from beyond the river, dark, suffocating, ancient. It wasn't like anything Ren had ever felt before. It was angry. Mira grabbed his shoulders, her old eyes burning. "Listen carefully, Ren. You were chosen by the oak. You have his power, Naruto's essence, inside you. If that darkness reaches the roots, everything he built will die." Quote. Ren shook his head. I can't even use proper chakra control." "You don't need control," Mira shouted. "You need faith, the same faith he had." And before he could respond, the great oak's light burst outward, and Ren's body was engulfed in golden fire. The spirit of the forgotten Hokage. Within that light, Ren saw flashes, memories that weren't his. A blond man smiling through pain. A red-haired woman embracing him. A fox's eyes blazing in darkness. He heard a voice, calm, kind, and strong. Greater than, "Hey there, kid. You're the next one, huh?" Ren gasped, spinning around, and there he was. Naruto Uzumaki, glowing faintly, standing amidst an endless field of light. His eyes were soft, filled with warmth and something deeper, the kind of peace that only comes after pain. Ren fell to his knees. "You're real," Naruto grinned. "Real enough for this moment." "Why me?" Ren whispered. "Why give this power to someone like me?" Naruto crouched beside him. "Because you're afraid, and only someone who understands fear can truly protect others from it." Ren looked up, trembling. "But I'm not like you." Naruto smiled wider. "That's what I said too, once. You don't have to be me. You just have to keep going, no matter what." He placed a hand on Ren's chest, and golden chakra surged through him. "Greater than, the power you carry isn't about strength. It's about heart. Now go, protect them, the same way someone once protected me." The vision faded, and Ren's eyes snapped open, glowing gold. The battle for the valley. When Arashi's army reached the valley, they expected to find chaos. Instead, they found a single boy standing between them and the great oak. Ren's small frame glowed with radiant energy, golden threads dancing across his body. Behind him, A massive spectral figure formed, Naruto's chakra ghost, towering, protective, unyielding. Arashi smirked. So, he left behind a shadow. Ren stepped forward, wind swirling around him. Not a shadow, a promise. The ground erupted as the first wave of phantoms charged. Ren moved instinctively, every motion guided by memories that weren't his. Spiraling wind tore through the mist, sealing it in radiant light. Each movement echoed Naruto's, the Rasengan, the speed, the calm beneath chaos. But his power was different, sharper, cleaner, refined by generations of peace. As he fought, the great oak's glow spread, covering the valley like a dome. Its branches moved like living veins, striking down the corrupted chakra with light. Arashi roared, slamming his hand into the earth. You think forgiveness can kill hatred? Ren's voice boomed through the storm, echoing Naruto's words from long ago. Greater than, no, but it can set it free. He formed a massive Rasengan, larger than himself, glowing with both golden and white light. The air cracked as he leapt, driving it into the ground, and the explosion of chakra lit the entire valley like dawn itself. When the light faded, the army was gone. Arashi's body disintegrated into dust, his final words a whisper. He still protects you. Ren collapsed, exhausted but alive. Epilogue, the Eternal Guardian. Weeks later, Ren stood at the base of the great oak. The sky was clear again, the air filled with birdsong. Mira smiled faintly, resting a hand on his shoulder. You did it, child. You kept his promise alive. Quote, Ren looked up at the statue, the wind brushing through his hair. I didn't do it alone. The leaves rustled gently, and for a moment, he thought he heard a familiar laugh. Greater than, hey, not bad, kid. Ren smiled. Thanks, Naruto. As the sun rose, golden light washed over the valley, not from chakra, but from the world itself. Yugaku would continue to stand, not as a village of warriors, but as a living testament to the one man who turned hate into hope. And though centuries would pass, his story would never fade, because forgiveness, once born, never truly dies. The morning after the battle, silence ruled the valley. Yugaku's people worked tirelessly to rebuild what little had been damaged, but to Ren, everything felt heavier. Even victory had its weight. He sat beneath the great oak, staring at his hands, still faintly glowing with the golden residue of Naruto's chakra. The light flickered like dying embers, whispering softly through his veins. Mira approached slowly, carrying a cup of tea. Her steps were careful, though her old eyes still glowed faintly, as if she, too, shared some remnant of the power that had once blessed their land. You haven't rested since the battle, she said. Ren didn't look up. Every time I close my eyes, I hear him. Who? The man in the light, Ren whispered. Naruto Uzumaki. He spoke to me. It wasn't just a dream. Mira nodded. I know. His presence has never left this land. The great oak is more than wood and chakra, it's a seal, a spirit, a memory of everything he once was. Ren turned to her, confused. A seal. Mira's eyes softened. Naruto's forgiveness purified the hatred of the world, but not all of it disappeared. Some of it he sealed inside the earth, to keep balance. What you fought yesterday, was that hatred taking shape again. Ren clenched his fists. Then it's not over. No, Mira said. It never truly is. That's why he chose you. The voice in the wind. That night, when the stars blanketed the sky, Ren lay awake on the grass, staring up through the golden leaves. The world felt alive, pulsing, whispering. Then he heard it again, that faint, familiar voice. Greater than, still awake, huh? Ren froze, sitting up. Naruto. A soft golden shimmer appeared before him, faint, but distinct. The outline of Naruto's face, the warm grin, those unmistakable blue eyes filled with fire and kindness. Ren's throat tightened. I thought you were gone. Naruto chuckled softly. Guess I'm bad at staying gone. Ren blinked, unable to find words. Why are you still here? Naruto gazed toward the great oak. Because the world still needs light. And sometimes, even after peace, the shadows don't vanish, they just sleep. My job was to forgive everyone, but even forgiveness leaves scars. Ren frowned. Scars. Quote, yeah, Naruto said gently. Forgiveness doesn't erase what happened, it just lets you move forward. But the pain, the guilt, the hatred, they always find a new host. Ren's heart sank. Like me. Naruto shook his head. No, you're different. You've got both, the strength to feel pain and the courage to forgive. You're what I hoped the next generation would be. For a moment, the wind carried their silence, soft, eternal. Then Naruto's expression darkened. Greater than, but there's something coming, kid. Something old. Older than chakra itself. Ren blinked. What do you mean? Naruto's image began to flicker. Find the shrine in the ruins of fire. There, you'll learn what I couldn't stop. And then, he was gone. Ren stood, heart pounding, the wind whispering Naruto's last words over and over. The journey begins. The next morning, Ren told Mira everything. She listened quietly, then nodded once. The ruins of fire, that's where Konoha once stood. Ren's eyes widened. Konoha, the village that never forgave him, Mira finished, voice somber. Yes, it's been centuries, but the land there is cursed, the ashes of resentment, the soil steeped in sorrow. Many who go there never return. Ren's gaze was unwavering. Then that's where I'll go. Mira smiled faintly. You remind me of him. She handed him a small necklace, a spiral-shaped charm. This was his. He gave it to my ancestor before he vanished into the oak. It will guide you when your heart wavers. Ren held it tightly. I'll bring back whatever truth he left behind. The ruins of fire. The journey took weeks. Through mountains swallowed by fog, forests that whispered with forgotten voices, and rivers where chakra itself shimmered faintly under moonlight. By the time Ren reached the land of fire's ruins, the air was thick, heavy with grief and memory. Broken stone walls stretched endlessly, scorched by centuries-old flames. And at the center stood what remained of the Hokage monument, half buried beneath vines and rubble. He knelt before it, brushing the dirt from a single face, Naruto's. The carving was cracked but still smiling. Ren whispered, they never forgave you, but you still smiled for them. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled. Symbols ignited in crimson along the stones, forming a spiral, the Uzumaki crest. The air shimmered, and a doorway opened below the monument. Without hesitation, Ren descended. The shrine of the forgotten flame. The underground shrine pulsed with chakra, walls engraved with seals, murals, and inscriptions depicting the entire shinobi history. Ren walked slowly, tracing the ancient carvings. He saw images of Naruto, of Sasuke, of wars and peace, until he reached the final mural. It showed Naruto kneeling, not in triumph, but in sorrow, as black tendrils spread from his shadow into the world. Ren frowned. What is this? A voice echoed through the chamber, cold, distant, yet familiar. Greater than, the truth he buried. Ren spun around, a figure stood in the shadows, cloaked in darkness. His eyes glowed faintly red, like dying embers. Who are you? Ren demanded. The figure stepped forward. I am what remains of your world's first hatred. I was born the day forgiveness was given to those who never deserved it. Ren's eyes widened. Arashi. The figure smiled faintly. No, Arashi was a remnant. I am the core, the darkness sealed beneath this shrine. You can call me Yami, the spirit of negation. Ren felt the ground pulse beneath him. The very air grew cold, the walls trembling. You're what Naruto sealed. Quote. Yami nodded. He thought he could balance hatred with love. But balance is an illusion. He extended a hand, black mist curling around his arm. You carry his light, so I will erase it. Ren's hand clenched the necklace tight. The golden spiral glowed brightly, Naruto's chakra flooding through him. Greater than, you'll never erase him. Not while I breathe. The clash of eras. Yami's laugh echoed through the chamber. Then die for him. Quote. Dark chakra surged from the ground, taking shape as massive shadow beasts. Ren moved instinctively, his body guided by the essence of Naruto's training. He leapt, spinning through the air, golden energy crackling around his palms. Raisin, shuriken. The golden vortex tore through the darkness, splitting the air like thunder. But the shadows reformed, endless, consuming, ancient. Yami's voice boomed. You cannot destroy hatred, child. It adapts. It evolves. Even he knew that. Ren fell to one knee, panting. Maybe not destroy it. He looked up, eyes blazing gold. But I can forgive it. The great oak's energy surged through his seal, light pouring from every wound, every breath. The spiral necklace shattered, unleashing a torrent of radiant chakra that illuminated the entire shrine. Naruto's spirit appeared behind him, vast, luminous, filled with warmth. Greater than, you did well, kid. Now let's finish this, together. Ren screamed as his body merged with Naruto's essence, the boy and the legend becoming one. Golden fire erupted from his veins, splitting the darkness apart. Raisin, eternal spiral. Quote, the explosion that followed was silent, not destructive, but cleansing. The shadows dissolved like smoke in sunlight, and Yami's voice faded with a final whisper. Forgiveness, truly, eternal. The golden morning. When Ren awoke, the shrine was gone. Only sunlight remained, warm and pure. He stood at the ruins of Konoha, now peaceful, the old stone bathed in gold. From the breeze came a faint, familiar voice. Greater than, you did it, Ren. The world's finally ready to heal. Ren smiled softly. Goodbye, Naruto. The wind swirled gently, carrying laughter, light, infinite. And for the first time in history, the land that once rejected Naruto's forgiveness became the land his spirit could finally rest upon. Epilogue, the eternal wind. Years later, travelers who passed the land of fire's ruins would often tell a strange tale. Of golden leaves that grew from barren soil. Of laughter in the wind. And of a boy with eyes like dawn who spoke to the ghosts of the past and smiled like he'd already met tea. They said peace was never permanent. But the light that once belonged to the boy no one forgave, never faded again. Centuries after Naruto's exile, the world he once saved had changed. Empires had risen and fallen, bloodlines had evolved, and the old ninja system had long faded into legend. Yet his story, the tale of the boy who was never forgiven, lived in whispers carried by the wind. They called him the Ghost Hokage, the man who turned pain into peace, the exile who birthed a new dawn. Deep within the valley where the great oak still stood, golden leaves shimmered eternally, untouched by age or storm. Beneath its roots, Naruto's spirit slept peacefully, no longer burdened by sorrow or duty. But his essence lingered, not as a weapon, not as a god, but as the warmth within every soul that learned to forgive. The final dream. Inside that golden realm of eternity, Naruto opened his eyes one last time. The world around him was infinite, filled with light and laughter. The faces of those he'd loved surrounded him, Jiraiya, Minato, Kushina, Iruka, and even those who once despised him. Kurama stood before him, massive and proud, but peaceful at last. You did it, kid, the fox rumbled. They'll never forget you now. Naruto smiled faintly. I don't need 'em to remember me. I just wanted 'em to smile again. Kurama chuckled. Still the same idiot. Quote, Naruto laughed, scratching the back of his head. Guess so. The landscape rippled with the warmth of his heart, memories of ramen nights, training grounds, and the village that once hated him but taught him what love truly meant. In the distance, the wind carried faint laughter, children playing in the new world he'd helped create. Naruto stood slowly, gazing at the horizon. Kurama, he said softly, it's time. The fox nodded. Ready. Yeah. They looked up at the golden sky, and together, they dissolved into light, merging with the very wind that carried life across the earth. The great oak's leaves glowed brilliantly, scattering golden embers across the heavens. And for a moment, all of creation felt it. A warmth in the air. A whisper in the heart. A reminder that even when the world refuses to forgive you, you can still forgive it. Epilogue, the eternal wind. Long after his name had become legend, travelers would sometimes rest beneath the great oak and feel an inexplicable peace. The wind there was always gentle, like an invisible hand brushing away tears. Children would chase the golden leaves that drifted from its branches, laughing without reason. And when the wind blew softly through the valley, it would carry a faint, familiar voice. Greater than, believe it, peace is real. Quote, some said it was a myth. Others swore they heard it themselves. But the truth was simple. Naruto Uzumaki's story had never been about being loved. It had been about loving anyway. And in that love, boundless, stubborn, immortal, he found what no Hokage ever had. A peace that would never die. If you enjoy this fanfic, then please like and subscribe my channel Narutofix 11 for more fanfic. Thank you.